So I don't know about you, but I am certainly taking advantage of the fact that I have a lot more free time now due to the coronavirus situation. And hopefully a lot of you guys are realizing the same thing, that if you have a lot of extra time now on your hands, you should be doing something. And I encourage you, invite you to participate with us during the Sync 60 challenge that we just started a few days ago. You can either just participate wherever you are, just watching our YouTube videos, or if you'd like to join us in Sync Academy, that's when you can get access to the progress chart and all the tutorials and the feedback that you get in the community, all the cool stuff that's happening there. A lot of activity has been going on the last couple of days in Sync Academy, so it's really, really exciting, really cool. I'm just sharing with you guys today a little bit of what I'm working on. I have a lot of work on my plate. I don't know if it's a coincidence or because of this coronavirus thing, I'm getting a lot more requests from my library partners to crank out a lot of music. This is basically what you're looking in front of you right now is 3 different tracks in one session. This is kind of the thing that maybe other people have done it, but I haven't heard people talking about it. So I'm calling it my patented sort of approach. When I get asked to do a lot of music in a short amount of time, which is fairly common in the licensing business, especially when it becomes sort of part of your primary source of income, you don't really have the time to create brand new sessions, to create brand new sounds and load up all of your plugins and load in all your samplers and all the other stuff that goes on there. A lot of times what you should just do is find your sound palette, which is what I have here for these like raw, aggressive rock tracks, and basically stack up. You can create 2 to 3 tracks within the same session if you'd like to. Now you can use the same BPM for all 3, just make sure they obviously sound different, or you can alter them. I don't know if you guys know, especially with Logic Pro, if I wanted to, right now we're all at 95 BPM, but if I wanted to make one of them faster, all I have to do is click here, and let's say I want to make these ones, 101 or whatever it's going to be. I don't want to do that. I want to keep them all at 95. But you can obviously change the BPMs, but the important thing here and why it's going to save you so much time is I don't have to go find another kick sound that I like, and a snare and a tom, or a lead guitar or a rhythm guitar or a bass or sound effects and all that kind of stuff. A lot of the times you're going to find even these shakers and tambourines are identical from track to track. But as you'll hear, they are distinct, they are individual tracks, they cover a little bit of a different kind of a feel, and that's what's most important. But I obviously don't think you should do this for all 12 tracks. Like that's what I'm doing right now. I'm doing a 12-track album. So I'm not going to be using the same template, the same session for all 12 tracks. 2 or 3 of them, they can have similar sounds, and then what I'll do is I'll restructure, find new sounds, find a new palette, and then I'll do another 3 in using those sounds, right? But you just got to make sure that you're not doing like cover versions of your previous songs. So I'm just going to walk you guys through some of the tracks I have right now. They're almost to the point where I'm going to be bouncing them and sending them along and getting my finals and deliverables done. But here's a little sample of each one so you can check them out. Here we go. So you get the idea there, just kind of a cool grooving track right there. And then we move on to our second one, which is a little bit different, but using all the same sounds, same palette, same sort of feel, but obviously changing up the riff a little bit and a little bit of a different vibe. The other thing that I do is I actually even use very similar structures. If you notice, pretty much an identical structure to the first one, but it feels like a completely different track, a completely different vibe, right? Obviously, I change things up as I need to be changed up, but I do follow along with a lot of the similar sort of a structure from track to track. And again, maybe 2 to 3 at the most, and then I'm going to move on after I'm done with these 3. I'm going to create a brand new palette, new sounds, and I'll probably create a different kind of a structure. So that way, you can stack these. Let's say, like, you probably wouldn't put all 3 of these tracks back to back on an album. They do sound fairly similar, so maybe this would be like track 1. in a different session that has different sounds, that would be track 2. Come back for this one, track 3, right? So you could stagger them so it doesn't feel completely like everything has a very similar sound. But this is just one of those creative ways that you really can crank out a lot of music and a lot of content very, very quickly. And I do think that this is a necessary thing for a lot of you guys to start getting used to, because sometimes it's just a matter of, can you get that much music done in such a short amount of time? And if the answer is no, okay, that's great that you have this masterpiece, but it took you 2 weeks to get done, and you're going to be sitting on the sidelines and not getting the opportunity. So here's our last track here in the 3. So there you go. You get the idea there. So, they are somewhat similar, but they do have their own vibe, their own sort of feel going through there. But this is basically what I've been asked to do for this particular opportunity, is raw, aggressive driving tracks. Now, what I definitely will do probably for the next 3 is I need to start adding some orchestral, maybe horn elements, because these are definitely going to be sports programming tracks. So I want to maybe go a little bit more into kind of the stadium, almost marching band feel with that rock. So it's going to be kind of a cool hybrid thing that we're going to play with. So once I have that sound palette, then I'll create another 2 or 3 tracks using that, trying to keep the original sound between each one. And this is how I do it, guys. This is how something, how long does this take for me to do these 3? This can be 2 days, 3 days, depending on how intense it is. But this is certainly, I can definitely get this down in 1 to 2 days if I have to, depending on the deadline. And usually what I'll do is I'll kind of weigh out, just like we do, and I teach you guys with Sync 60, what's my deadline? And I know my deadline for this project, so I can kind of start from the deadline, work my way back to the present day. How much do I need to get done every single day to get to that number? And so that's exactly what I'm doing here. And obviously, the more time you have, the more you can finesse things and add a little bit more detail to things. The shorter the more harsher the timeline, or the shorter it is to you where you are now, the less time you have to do that kind of stuff. So you do have to sort of find these creative ways to cut as many corners as you can without sacrificing the quality of your tracks. Of course, you don't do any of this if your tracks don't sound top notch and at least competitive for whatever it is you're going to be pitching. So anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that and this keeps you motivated. I hope you guys are working on something. Let me know in the comments below, what are you working on? What is your Sync 60 goal? What are you going to be working on for the next couple of weeks? Is there an album you're trying to create? Are you submitting libraries for the first time, just learning your DAW? I want to know where you guys are in your licensing careers. I would love to read your comment.